Hi, my name is Marisa and today I'll be bringing the story of Moses as he guides the Israelites through the Red Sea. This story can be found in Exodus 12:37 to 51, chapter 13:17 to 22, or chapter 14. So God wanted to deliver his people from Egypt. Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, was stubborn. God had a way to make Pharaoh let the Israelites leave their slavery. One night, the firstborn child in every family died. God spared the Hebrew families who had obeyed God's command and sprinkled blood on the doorpost of their houses. The destroying angel passed over these houses and families. Everywhere people were crying. Even the king was crying, for his son was dead. Now at last the king was ready to obey God and let the Israelites leave Egypt. In the land of Goshen there was much excitement. News spread quickly that Pharaoh had at last agreed to let them leave. They were overjoyed. There was no time to delay. Pharaoh might change his mind again. If they were going to leave, they must do so at once. As thousands of Israelites began to file out of Egypt, they noticed a cloud in front of them. It wasn't an ordinary cloud like the ones they saw every day. This cloud was traveling with them. Moses said that God was in the cloud, and God would lead his people all the way to Canaan. When the first darkness came, the cloud glowed with a light so beautiful that the people called it a pillar of fire. Back in Egypt, Pharaoh and his people finally realized that the Israelites had really departed. Now there were no more slaves. How did Pharaoh get his beautiful buildings finished without their hard work? "We shall go back and get them," Pharaoh declared. He gathered together an army, including 600 of his fastest war chariots, and they began to pursue the former slaves. I'll be right back with a new setting to continue on with our story. Okay, let's get back to the story. The Israelites had almost reached the Red Sea when suddenly, far in the distance behind them, they heard a rumbling noise. Everyone felt terror. They saw the advancing chariots. Pharaoh had changed his mind, and he was coming after them. Nearer and nearer the Egyptians came. The soldiers were behind them, and the Red Sea was in front of them. "We're trapped," the people cried. They clambered around Moses and wailed, "Why did you bring us out here to die in the wilderness?" They had already forgotten how God had delivered them from Egypt. But Moses hadn't. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Watch, and you'll see the wonderful way God will rescue you today. He will fight for you." Then God spoke to Moses. "Tell the people to start marching forward. Stretch out your rod over the waters, and the sea will divide, and the Israelites will walk across the dry land." The pillar of cloud with God's presence moved from the front of the multitude to the back. It brought darkness to the pursuing Egyptians, but shone like a light to Israelites. Then Moses did as he commanded. He lifted up his rod high over the Red Sea, and the people watched in awe. The waters divided and piled up on either side, leaving a clean, dry path through the sea. Quickly, the people gathered together their children and their flocks. And then we have the people walking through. All night long they walked across the dry bed of the sea with the high walls of water on either side of them. When the Egyptians saw that their slaves had crossed the Red Sea, and had gone away, Pharaoh shouted, "After them!" The Egyptians raced their chariots onto the seabed when something strange started happening. God made the wheels of the chariots fall off. The drivers urged their horses on, but it was no use. When the Egyptian army was beginning to feel frightened, "Let's go back," they called to each other, but it was too late. God had told Moses to stretch out his rod again. Moses was obeying. With a mighty roar, the waters came crashing down, creating the Egyptians' army by surprise and destroying them. Then Moses and the people sang a song. "I will sing unto the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse the rider hath he thrown into the sea. The Lord is my strength, my salvation." God has saved his people once again. They shouldn't have complained. They should have trusted God. He would heal them as long as they obeyed him and trusted him. If we trust God and learn not to complain, we not only make God happy, but he will help us in times of need. Thanks for tuning in to this week's story of Moses, and we hope to see you next week. Thanks.